G'day and welcome to the T-Rex Elec LED lighting video. Today we're just going to take a few minutes to explain the benefits of LED lighting and the dangers of old school halogen light fittings. Halogen light fittings are a common thing that we find in homes within the Greater Gold Coast area. There's a couple of major issues with these. Number one is they use a heap of power and they're very expensive to run to light your home. And the second issue is that the heat put off by these starts fires in ceiling spaces. We've got thermal camera images that we've captured in ceiling spaces on the Gold Coast where these particular light fittings and the back of them that is inside the roof space is over 180 degrees Celsius. It's not hard to see how these things can start fires in houses. If you've got these types of light fittings in your home, there's a couple of things that need to happen. Number one, there needs to be a placard fitted to the manhole cover so that it warns people that recessed halogen lighting is installed, and it prevents people like ceiling insulation installers from laying things like pink bats and insulation fluff over the top of them, which is a common way that house fires start. The second thing that really needs to happen with these lights is there has to be a clearance between the back of the light and nearby building materials or any sort of pink bat over the top of it. Originally, when these lights were installed, these clearances weren't maintained, so there was a revision within the wiring rules that you had to place a shroud around it to keep the material away. Most homes that we go into when we do halogen lighting changeovers do not have this and are an absolute fire risk. We've got a LED light fitting over here that we're going to show you in a moment that we've replaced this little one with. But just before we do that, I just wanted to show you here, this one was taken out of this particular house and the customer wanted to change the globe after it blew. The globe was that hot, as you can see here. There is burn marks all over the place. This residue on here is actually the customer used a wet dishcloth to try and take the light out, and it was that hot it's melted the dishcloth onto there. So the customers called us to come and have a look, and now we're replacing with LED fittings. We finished the work over here, so let's go and have a look at this LED fitting and we'll see what we can show you as to the benefits of changing these old halogens out. Okay, so we finished the electrical side of replacing this light. We've changed the wiring configuration just on the other side of the ceiling there to accept the new light. And this is what the finished product looks like. Now, the great benefits behind this light fitting is it addresses the two major challenges that you face with old school halogen lighting. Number one is the heat factor. These lights have what they call an IC4 rating, which means that they are able to be covered and abutted against building materials. That means that it eliminates the risks that you faced when you had old halogen lighting in your roof with pink bats or trusses nearby. These lights can be installed directly under those pink bats or abutted directly against building materials such as trusses in your roof, and there is no risk of them combusting and starting a fire in your ceiling space. Another great feature of these lights is that they use 1/5, in most cases, they use 1/5 the amount of electricity to light your room than the old halogen lighting. An old halogen lighting fitting is around about 50 watts is the most common size we encounter. This particular light fitting here has the same amount of light output, but only consumes 8 watts of power. So that's less than 20%. You imagine how many light fittings you have in your home and for how many hours they're on a day. Imagine the savings that you could get if you reduced the cost of lighting your home by 80%. Another really good feature that our customers love with these particular types of lights is they have what's called a switchable color rating. So that means you've got warm white, cool white, and daylight output all within one single light fitting. That means that in a smaller room, you could have a more cozy, warm light to light the room. Larger rooms or office spaces are generally daylight or cool white, depending on your preference. The good thing about these light fittings is they're also future-proof. So if you put these in your home and you renovate a room and you change it from being an office to a nursery for a newborn baby, you can change the color of your light output without the need to endure the cost of replacing all the light fittings in that room. Having these light fittings in your house is really a no-brainer to save you money and safeguard you against fires in your home. Another great feature about these lights, in addition to the one that we've already spoken about, is the service life of the light fittings themselves. Normal halogen light fittings are expected to last between 800 and 1,000 hours before they stop working. That's the life expectancy given by the manufacturer of those fittings. These particular light fittings have a service life of not 800 hours, not 1,000 hours, but 30,000 hours of rated service life. That means if on average you use this light for 4 hours a day, it is expected to last 19 years. That means that you wouldn't have to change a light globe for 19 years, which is almost never again, considering how long some people stay in houses.